Hello Rebrand gang, and welcome to episode 48 of Rebrand Everything, the weekly graphic design show where we create new logo designs for big or famous companies. This week we are going to be rebranding Yankee Candles. Let's get into it. So now that Christmas is fast approaching, I've noticed that all the worktops and windowsills in my house are being slowly covered in candles, and one of the main candle brands is called Yankee Candle, and I'm just very surprised at their logo. Their logo looks like this, which I hadn't actually seen before because on the product they use the font called Trajan, which actually looks alright, it kind of just fits its purpose. But when I saw this updated logo I was a little bit shocked. So a little bit of background about the company. Yankee were founded in 1969 and are now the USA's biggest manufacturer of candles. They're seen as a good quality product and they are priced as such. They're in the more expensive range of the market for candles. And the logo that's used on the candles is super important because the logo appears on the products and then the products are actually on display in your home, like the jar that the candle comes in is what it stays in, so that is on your shelf or on your windowsill. So I just think that the logo is super important on this product, more so than others. Before 2017, their logo looked like this. Whilst it's not perfect, the no-nonsense use of Trajan at least puts across the idea that they are an established company. This style fitted the heritage of the brand and the premium product, so although the font isn't always a favourite amongst designers, when compared to other choices they could have made, it's fairly classy and elegant typeface. In 2017, they changed their logo. I can't lie, the new logo caught me off guard. I always thought that this new logo was just for use on the website and the digital side of things, as I'd never actually seen it on one of their products. But then when I look at their website, I can see that although they've still got some with the old logo, a lot of the new flavoured candles do have this new logo on there. So the first thing that I notice is that there are a few strange design choices which cause the whole logo to feel incredibly unbalanced and inconsistent. First of all, the word Yankee is bigger than the word candle. Now that could make sense as it is their brand name, but it's only about 15% smaller, so it's noticeably smaller without being small enough to be clearly second place in the hierarchy. In my eyes, it should have either been the same size as the word Yankee or much smaller, as currently it's sitting in no man's land. On top of this, the first letter of each word is slightly bigger than the rest of the letters in the word, which also helps to add to the completely unbalanced feel of the logo. And on top of that, every E in the logo is lowercase and increased in height to match the uppercase letters, further adding to the line weight inconsistencies. The swoop that is kicking from the tail of the K is good, it follows the curve of the E nicely. It's just a shame that the spacing between either side of the tail, between the E and the L below, isn't equal, as I feel like a little spacing could go a long way for the overall design. Because of all the different font sizes and styles, we end up with a logo that's very confusing to look at. The line thicknesses and spacing inconsistencies are making the whole logo feel very uncomfortable on the eye. For example, the second E in the word Yankee looks bigger than the first and like it's kind of separate from the rest of the logo. But then when you pull a ruler down, you can actually see that it's smaller than the other E, which is weird. Now, because I am a nice person who doesn't really like rinsing on other designers' logos, I think it's only fair to point out the parts of this logo that I do like as well. This logo definitely has a more modern look than the old version, whilst retaining some character due to the varying thickness nature of the text, and also the colour is nice. It's a good shade of grey that's strong enough to stand out on a white background without feeling too heavy and harsh. Anyway, that's enough background and analysis of the logo, let's get into sketching out some ideas. So for the sketching stage, as always, I was getting down every single idea that came to my mind onto the page. No prejudging, just get everything out there and we can develop it later. Even though some of the ideas that were in my head were quite obviously bad, I still just draw them out because sometimes they can be the inspiration for a good idea sort of based on that. Or sometimes you'll be drawing something out that you think is bad and then actually it just somehow works, so it's always good to just get the bad ideas out as well and just see where it takes you. So for this logo, I didn't want to go down my usual route of kind of doing 5 different icons. I didn't feel like they necessarily needed an icon. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time working with the text. So I could imagine for this company of quite a few different fonts would be fitting, but a lot of the time I was thinking like serif fonts, serif with the little balls on the end as well. Just feel like that could work for a kind of trendy candle company. And also I was looking at script fonts as I felt like that might work for the company as well. So when I was actually drawing this out, I kept drawing this like drop shape, but it kept looking just like a water drop instead of a flame, and I couldn't quite tell what was going wrong. And then I realised that I needed this little cutout on the bottom, and that little subtle cutout really makes a big difference. It takes it from a water drop icon to a flame really simply and with no confusion. And again, while I was sketching, I wanted to get a few fonts in mind so I could sort of visualize how this might work. So I wrote a few font ideas down in the bottom left of the sketchpad, and that was just looking through Adobe fonts and picking out which ones that I thought could work. So as a lot of these were typographically based, I wanted to move into Illustrator pretty early in the process just so I could see what these would look like without having to redraw every single bit of each font. So yeah, let's get into Illustrator. Please don't forget to press like on this video if you like this video. It really helps the channel out. And also, as an added incentive, I'm going to say that on Tuesday morning, however many likes this video has, I will do that many press-ups and film it and put it in the intro of next week's video. So inflict the pain, as much pain as you like on me by pressing that like button.
1.
So for this week's option 1, I wanted to take the raw ingredients from the current logo and develop them in a different way to the current logo. I started by finding a font that had some contrast in the line thicknesses. The font I chose was called Philosopher, and in a way it's a mix of the font from the current logo and the old Yankee Candle's logo. I tried using the kick from the K to wrap around one of the E's to match up with the current logo's concept, but it made the second E look like it was being kind of kicked out of the family. So I went back a step and rebuilt the K to wrap around both E's. This was good, but it caused a tricky situation as I still needed to find a place to put the word candle. If I positioned candle beneath the swoosh on the bottom of the K, it felt completely detached from the rest of the logo, and making the word smaller and tucking it in the available space over to the left just felt weird as it looked a little bit too small. In the end, I rebuilt the logo using a non-italic version of the font as I felt this would look better on the packaging, as italicized logos can sometimes look weird when they're positioned centrally on a page or on packaging in this situation. The fact the capital C was taller than the other letters meant I could stagger the text to avoid the spacing problem from the K swoosh. The end product retained some of the character of their previous logo and their current logo, whilst being much more typographically sound and generally easier to read.
2.
So for option 2, I wanted to follow down the route of a simple icon with some text that has some character. I drew out a simple little flame graphic to symbolise the hot part of a candle, and then I usually like to develop icons in pure black and white, however it looked way too harsh for the light and delicate style I was trying to create, so I had to soften the colours a little bit before developing so that it didn't look like some sort of flammable item warning. I scrolled through a lot of fonts, most of which didn't feel acceptable or fitting to be put on the side of an expensive product, and then I found this font called Gina Moderno, which felt quirky but tasteful with some nice little subtle features that made it feel different to most serif fonts. After a few spacing adjustments throughout the text and the icon, it was all ready to go. And another thing I thought is that perhaps this logo could be like an adaptive logo, so the colour of the icon and the full stop could change depending on the flavour of the candle. And that might be a nice way of making the packaging look different each time, but still sort of keeping that overriding brand with the main logo.
3.
There's something about Yankee Candles that just makes me imagine that their logo could have a scripty font, so for option 3, that's exactly what I wanted to try. I needed to find a script font that looked like it was suitable for a premium product, so I was avoiding the fonts that looked too basic or like normal handwriting. I found this one called Great Vibes, which had the right balance of formality without looking too old-fashioned. I wanted to add a little flame on the end of the flourish, but was conscious that this needed to be done with some care to stop it looking like the fuse of a firework. I had to do quite a lot of fiddling to get the strokes of the font to work nicely with the icon, and I did that pretty much all using the direct selection tool. The little flame gives a nice tie to the product range without being too in your face and shouty about it. Also, I know I'm mad, but I think the script font kind of looks like the little bit of wispy smoke that comes off of a candle when you blow it out. Is that a nice link or a bridge too far? Please comment on my sanity below.
4.
So for option 4, I wanted to create an icon that used the initials of the company name. Initially, I liked the idea of making kind of a scripty design inside a circle with another inset circle to give it some depth. When I started looking down this route, I just didn't like how it was looking, but it did spark another idea. Instead of a script font, I found this serif font which has these big balls, big balls, on the end of the letters. A square seemed to work well with the letters, but something about it just felt a little bit unrefined. As the square was as refined as a square can get, I had to look at changing the font. I ended up using a font called Dido or Didot, I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but D-I-D-O-T. And that font looks a lot more delicate and really gave the text a more premium and expensive look. I feel like the website could use this version as it's more landscape, and then the candle itself could use a stacked variation of the logo with the square at the top of the packaging as a strong distinctive mark which might look really good when you've got all the candles laid out as a range.
5.
So for option 5, I wanted to try something that in my mind is a little bit cheesy, but I still wanted to see how it looked. So I'd had the idea of adding a flame to one of the letters in the word mark to make an obvious link from the logo to the product. At first I tried it on all of the ascenders to see which looked best, then I noticed that the D and the L were kind of like two ascending characters next to each other, which gave me a bit of room to flex the idea a little bit further. When I put the little wick on, something felt off about the whole balance of the design, so I needed something to indicate the curved cylinder shape of a candle. Once I added this, I was kind of happy with the idea, but I wasn't entirely sold on the execution. I feel like this would make a good logo for a website that sells wholesale candles, but might not be perfect for a premium candle manufacturer who are trying to charge and command a high price. Although I literally just said a few negative things about this option, I still feel like the balance and readability is better than their current logo, so I'm standing by this one as option 5. Okay then, Rebrand gang, before I show you them final options, I just want to remind you to press the little button up here and then vote for your favourite option, then head straight down to the comments below and let me know why that was your favourite. Don't forget to press like. I wasn't joking about the press ups, I will actually do it. And if you want to see videos like this every single week, press subscribe and put the little bell on so you can get a notification. I've been doing premieres recently and it's pretty cool. You get the little live chat down the side of the screen while the video's playing and we all watch it at the same time, which is pretty cool. Okay then, Rebrand gang, let's see them final options.